There's Tokyo, and then there's Georgie. Popular, young, and offbeat, the neighborhood is known for its stores, clubs, and cafes. In one of those cafes, on the 6th floor of a nondescript office building, sits a New Zealander. He's making a video game for the future, while he's making coffee. His name is Joseph White, the owner of Pico Pico Cafe and Lexalawful Games, which geographically are one and the same. He's invited us to learn all about Voxels, the 3D pixels that will power the hologram-like visualizers of tomorrow.
There wasn't a period in my life before game development. When I was 8 or 9, I played my first arcade game, and it was the most wonderful thing I've ever experienced in my life. I started programming when I was about 10 or 11. At that time, being able to get the machine to do anything at all was just the most exhilarating thing. I wasn't sleeping at night. I was obsessed with making these discoveries and making new games and impressing my brother with them and stuff like that. This is Voxel. The way that a voxel is commonly used, the strict definition is that it's a volumetric element, in the same way that a pixel is a picture element. If you look at the top of the robot's head, you can see that little green block. That's one voxel. So if this scene was placed into Crysis's geometry, it would be really small. Probably large enough to model a small rock in Crysis. The whole thing is designed from the ground up to run on a volumetric display. You might know the scene in Star Wars where they're playing chess on a little kind of holographic game board. So it looks like that. That's an example. And so what you're seeing when you use it on a regular desktop machine is a simulated voxel display, and then that display is rendered onto the 2D display. Some guys in New Jersey, they're called Voxel, and they're developing a low-cost volumetric display. I don't know if it was a coincidence, but the specifications of the machine are really perfect for Voxtron. I mean, I was excited to see any volumetric display, but one that was built to specifications that Voxtron, it fits into the same resolution box with a kind of similar aspect ratio. The goal is that I can get a prototype and stick it in this cafe, and people can come around and try out levels they've made on the display. If Voxtron works, it will kind of open up a new medium for people to work with, and I want to see more voxel stuff, and maybe even higher resolution hand voxeled models and animations. This is Georgie, which is on the west side of Tokyo. Basically, it was the closest place near to my house where there was a main street where people would show up and go to a cafe. We had the choice between having a crappy office with no windows or a nice office space, which was too expensive, and we would need to convert it into a cafe to pay some of the rent. I mean, we don't make very fancy coffee, we don't have a large menu, but it's just a nice space to hang out. So we're kind of offering the space just as much as the cafe part. Quite often, customers will show up with laptops and be doing something else. So it just feels more like a shared workspace than a cafe. I'm hoping that over time, people will just show up and it'll kind of become a center for people to meet each other. And in fact, I've already seen developers and industry people meet each other here. And so that's really satisfying.